you know, when we get to OT, Jordan's going to be super exposed, but he doesn't know. Yeah, so Jordan, what we want to ask is about life in Seattle. And the big thing is, before we talk about work, I guess, just tell me about life in Seattle. And I know Bleska was mentioning too, just specifically like when it comes to like the former president of the United States, how that
Still president, technically, yeah.
How was that? Like how was life in that? Like how like life is hectic right now, and you experience the hecticness of an election in a pandemic era. Like and just tell us about life in Seattle first, and then tell us about that craziness, and then we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, for sure. So it was a crazy year to move to Seattle. Although I guess I moved a year and a half back. The first half was pretty good, pretty stable before COVID. Mind you, it was still a Trump presidency. So life in Seattle, pretty good. Amazing hikes, a lot to do, outdoors, indoors, a ton of activities. You know, I mentioned going to the Seahawks games, probably hiked, you know, half a dozen times a month leading up to COVID. And then even during COVID, we were able to kind of get outdoors, take socially distant hikes. They're amazing, so beautiful hikes to do in Seattle. What's cool too is Seattle also has year-round golf, so kind of been getting back into golfing during the pandemic, and that's been pretty cool. So you know, the day before I flew back to London, December 5th, I was still out there on the golf course. I played 9 holes on the Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so weather-wise, it's pretty good. You know, it kind of does live up to a stereotype that it does rain a lot, but it's pretty mild all year round. So, you know, I expect when I go back, I should be able to golf in January. What's kind of cool too is there's, you know, you drive north or south about 30-45 minutes, and you hit a mountain. So, you know, it could be 10 degrees in Seattle or Redmond, but it's negative 10 degrees Celsius on the mountain. So it's really good conditions for skiing and snowboarding. So some great outdoor activities in Seattle. When it comes to kind of politics and stuff like that, I'd say like the greater Seattle area is pretty similar to, I would say Washington in general kind of mirrors Ontario's political standing. So, you know, like if we look at bigger cities like London or Toronto, GTA, it's more or less pretty liberal. And then when you start kind of venturing out more into the rural parts of the state and the province, you kind of encounter more of the conservative views. During the election, so we were pretty sheltered because it's kind of such a liberal city. We did get a few Trump rallies and protesters in our city of Redmond, which was honestly, it was interesting to see, because I wasn't expecting that in our city. But obviously everyone has the right to their own political views. So it was funny. Cass she was heading to McDonald's to pick me up a coffee, and she ended up in the middle of the convoy. Some car in the convoy was nice enough to let her come out of the McDonald's drive-through and back onto the main road.
That's crazy.
So if there are any videos of the convoy, you'll see Cassandra in there, only because someone was kind enough to let her in, not because she supports that political party.
That's actually pretty wild, though. It's like oh, that's what I see on my TV. I'm right in the middle of it.
I know that person.
Yeah. So you'll see Cass there with my McDonald's iced coffee. But yeah, it's been a crazy year, both with the CHOP zone in Seattle, a lot of the protests there, and then also around the election. Just a very interesting and thought-provoking year to be living in Seattle, both from like a social justice standpoint and then the political and turmoil in elections. I'm glad that there's more stability when it comes to politics, and now that Biden's in office, because obviously I rely on, immigration policy. So a stable immigration policy is something that I'm looking forward to. Knock on wood.
Yeah, especially I mean, like you could see how Trump was tweeting all summer really about just Oregon and like the left and da 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 da. So I was wondering, like, in terms of just like did you see much destruction, or is that I know you said you're pretty secluded, but like, did that like flood over to your areas, or just like in general, could you feel a different sentiment around, or is it like added on to COVID?
Yeah, so there was definitely like that sentiment definitely carried over across the pond over to Redmond. So there were socially distant protests in Redmond, and obviously Seattle too. A lot of the companies in the area, spent resources, gave folks time off to kind of reflect and educate, one another on the injustice that people of color in America have historically faced. So it was good to see that response from the community and kind of our execs at companies. But yeah, in terms of from like a destruction point of view, I didn't see any of that where we lived. We have a couple good friends that live downtown Seattle, and kind of in the same neighborhood as where CHOP was established. So they did see a lot of the protesting. Yeah, they said that 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock would roll around, and they would hear a lot of the protests and like fireworks and stuff like that. But yeah, really interesting year. It's been.
Yeah, interesting year to be in Seattle, and to say the least. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
well, let's move on to just, we asked you about Xbox and PCs.
We're digging.
I wanna know about life in Microsoft. Like, I know you worked at Apple, and are you enjoying like the transition to that stable job that you're at? You can work from home, like you're in London now. You can do everything that you were doing in Seattle. And are you enjoying your time in Microsoft? And are you looking forward to just your life there, or day-to-day tasks? Like, what is it about Microsoft that you enjoy?
Absolutely. So the culture at Microsoft was one of the big deciding factors for why I chose it over going back to Apple. I found that the work-life balance at Microsoft is a lot better than it was at Apple, even when I was just an intern. So I've really enjoyed working at Microsoft for that reason. Also enjoy the team that I work on. So I work on platform security. So I'm defending both Windows and Azure, which is the world's computer. Satya Nadella would want me to say that, so I said it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've never been in the role that I'm in today. So it's been a challenge the last year and a half, kind of adapting to the kind of the expectations and day-to-day responsibilities as a program manager. But yeah, really enjoying the everything from my team to the culture to the work-life balance to the opportunities at Microsoft. Working from home is probably the best thing that's happened this year. I don't ever want to go back to the office, but
are you serious?
Oh yeah, working from home is excellent, man.
Don't you miss the like social interaction, or no?
No. I mean,
Bro.
That's not entirely.
I love my team.
Yeah, I love my team,
Yeah,
but I don't want
exactly.
to touch them. I
I
don't want to
love
high
my
five them.
team, but
They only
no,
fist
that's
bump. Bro, yeah.
I do. You know, I'm able to interact and socialize pretty frequently through online meetings and stuff with my team and other teams at Microsoft, inter and intra work. But it is nice to just roll out of bed, quick shower, and you're already in the office. There's absolutely zero commute, zero downtime. I love being 20 steps away from my kitchen and my fridge. Make a snack or lunch whenever I want. One thing I do miss is the free drinks at Microsoft. The Buble water,
Buble, okay.
sparkling water, and all you can drink coffee and tea. I do miss that.
They treat you well.
Wait.
But yeah, working from home is nice.
I need to know, how are the food at Microsoft?
The food, yeah, the food's pretty good. We have the food's okay.
Yo, cafeteria, high school, does it compare?
No,
Are we getting chicken sandwiches or Mexi fries or what?
No, it's 15 times better than the MTS calf, but it doesn't hold a candle to like Apple's cafeteria.
Give me an example. Let's go.
Man, Apple's pizza, so they have their own pizza ovens. People would wait in lines for this pizza for hour and a half.
Damn.
When my family visited me at Apple, multiple times we ate in the cafeteria just because the pizza and the food was that good. Like they didn't want to try a restaurant in the area. They only wanted Apple calf food. But yeah, compared to the other, big tech companies, Facebook, Apple, Google, LinkedIn. Well, I mean, we own LinkedIn. The food isn't as good as the other ones. It is subsidized, but it's not free. Like Facebook, for instance, is free food. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining. I honestly don't care that much. Yeah, typically when my team would kind of get together for lunch, we would go off campus and we just kind of carpool to a restaurant in the area. Though that's another big thing I miss, those team lunches. But yeah, we didn't eat on campus that often.
I want to go off on your point about working at home. I find my biggest struggle in terms of just being at home all the time is really designated that workspace versus that I'm at home space. What are ways that you used or tips that you have to make sure that it's really like this is time for work and this is like I'm not looking at my bed right now?
Yeah, that's striking that balance is always tricky. So I've been working from home now for eight or 9 months. And halfway through we moved apartments. So we moved from a 1-bedroom to a 2-bedroom place. So having that second bedroom as a dedicated office has been a huge difference. Because I used to work from my kitchen table. So I would eat in the same place I would work and vice versa. So I find now that physical separation of having my own office versus a kitchen space has been pretty big. Also invest in some like ergonomic furniture, standing desks, stuff like that. So yeah.
Standing desks, that's huge.
Not trying to flex on it. All that to say, like that physical barrier, I think has helped a little bit. And then my team is also generally pretty good about, no meetings after, meeting hours or core working hours are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Outside of that, it's, with a few exceptions here and there, it's considered bad practice to send an email or send a text, schedule a meeting outside of those hours. Obviously barring some exceptions, but to be honest, I haven't struggled with, just kind of unplugging, disconnecting at 5:30, 6 o'clock. For the most part, there's been some times where, you have to work on a weekend to hit a deadline or something like that. But the most part, it's been good.